The Giant Goblin sucks in Clash Royale. Find out 5 reasons why in today's episode. Hey guys, this is Ray here, and with the release of the Giant Goblin in-game, we have finally been able to play test the card, and find out that it is disappointingly underwhelming. I mean, it just isn't that effective once your opponent learns how to defend it. Today, we're gonna break down 5 reasons why the Giant Goblin sucks, and give a few suggestions to how I think I would buff him in the next set of balance changes. So, without further ado, let's get right into the list. Number 1. Unjustified HP. For a 6 elixir card, the Goblin Giant is a bit weak on the HP side. It has way less hit points for a Giant for 1 more elixir, and I don't think anything justifies it as a viable tank over the Giant. Giant is just clearly a better card. As the Rumham says, Giant Goblin is supposed to be a tank used in place of the Giant, and so far, it just won't cut it. Hopefully some kind of HP buff is in the cards. In my opinion, at least match the HP of the Giant Skeleton, another 6 elixir tank. Number 2. Too niche. Let's face it, the Goblin Giant just doesn't have much variety in uses. Again, comparing it to the Giant is used in so many different decks. Sure, the main archetype is Beatdown, but we have Giant 3 Musketeers, Giant Night Witch, Giant Control, Giant Cycle, Giant Double Prince, and the list goes on and on. Giant Goblin? Well, he's pretty much not used at all, and in the rare cases where he's generally only found with Minor. That's pretty much the only card that the Goblin Giant synergizes well with, and with a card that's supposed to be a win condition, it just can't be so niche. Number 3. Death Ability. Another card I like to compare the Giant Goblin with is the Giant Skeleton. Being both 6 elixir tanks, I can say without hesitation that the Giant Skeleton is just a better card. Not only does he have more hit points, he also has a better death effect. I mean, the Skelly has a giant bomb that just decimates everything. What happens when the Goblin dies? 2 Spear Goblins that pretty much do nothing. Obviously, the Goblin's death effect is just outclassed by other troops. I don't think this death effect should be changed, however, as buffs in other areas can compensate for a weaker death spawn. Number 4. Damage. Alright, let's see here. Giant Goblin does 85 DPS. How much does one singular tiny goblin do? 90. That just doesn't make sense. This massive beast of a troop does less damage than its smaller counterpart. This doesn't need much explaining at all, but I think a damage buff should also be coming in the next set of balance changes. Sure, the 2 Spear Goblins locked onto the tower do make the Giant Goblin do 163 damage, but 99% of the time, those Spear Goblins are slowly chipping away at something else. Number 5. Movement Speed. Now this one, in my opinion, plays a much bigger role than you'd think. The Goblin Giant's movement speed is too fast. As you can see, its movement speed is medium, and I just don't think that such a fast movement can achieve what the dev team intended. Once again, let's compare it with a Giant. As the Rumham says,
the wide variety of Giant decks in the game, at least some of them will split off and say, ooh, Goblin Giant's what I'm looking for.
So clearly, Rumham wants the Giant Goblin to, in some cases, replace the Giant. However, the Giant has a slow movement speed. That is what classifies it as beatdown. With a slower movement, the Giant takes longer to reach the bridge, allowing you to build up a bigger push. If the Giant Goblin is supposed to replace the Giant as a big beatdown sort of figure, I think its movement speed should honestly be changed to slow. Quite simple. So there we go, 5 reasons why I think that the Giant Goblin just isn't that good in the current meta, and a few of the changes that I would make to the card in the next set of balance changes. The card honestly just isn't that effective in the current meta, rocking almost a 0% use rate in grand challenges. There's just simply better substitutes that are much more cost effective. What do you guys think about the Giant Goblin? Also, what changes would you make to the card? Be sure to let me know in the comment section below. But unfortunately guys, that is all I've got time for in today's video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like down below as well as a subscription to my channel. And as always, this is Legendaray, and I'm signing off. See you guys next time.